Hello there, Gamerinos and Gamerinas. Welcome to UnicornStorm. This is Rady, and today I'm here with another reason why the Xbox Gamepass Ultimate might be worth your hard-earned money. And since this is the first time I'm making a Xbox Gamepass review in English, let me explain how this works. So for about 2 years now, I've chosen a game from the Xbox Game Pass catalog on PC every month and, well, make a video on it. It doesn't always have to be a new game, and it doesn't have to be an exclusive game. My only goal is to present one good game every month that would cost as much or even more than the price of the monthly subscription. The whole reasoning behind it being, if you play just one game every month for at least $15, then that already justifies a subscription to the Xbox Game Pass. I'm not affiliated with Microsoft, I don't get paid for this. I don't think they even know I exist. But I do like the concept of this Netflix for gaming, even though it has some problems with games disappearing again after a period of time. Actually, the first game I made a video about isn't included in the subscription anymore. I still think that the service has a lot of value and, well, with Microsoft acquiring more and more game studios, the number of games that remain permanent in the Game Pass catalog will increase over time. So yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at today's game, which is SUPERHOT. Might control delete. I played the first SUPERHOT game a few years back and I had a lot of fun with it. It looks like a shooter, but it's more a puzzle game, a puzzle shooter. The main gameplay loop is you running around an arena where a small group of enemies is trying to kill you. Sometimes they just run towards you, sometimes they lie in ambush. You can find guns and melee weapons and also throwable objects to, well, throw at enemies. You die in one hit, and most of the time enemies do so too. At least if they're hit with a bullet or a melee weapon. Throwable objects only stun them, and you need 3 unarmed strikes to kill an enemy. The most important mechanic of this game, though, is that time only moves when you are moving. So as long as you're standing still, enemies don't move and bullets stop in midair. Well, not quite. Let's say everything just moves with 1% of its normal speed. But you can and have to use this to your advantage. If an enemy shoots at you, you can now see the bullet's trajectory and can move out of the way. If multiple enemies assault you, you can take a moment to assess the situation and plan out who to attack first. So if there is an enemy with a gun, you can throw a bottle at him, punch the other guy, grab the gun the first guy has dropped and shoot the third guy with it. When you finish a room, you can watch a real-time replay of your gameplay, which looks incredible. I guess this is what John Wick sees every day. The original game was a sequence of tightly crafted puzzle levels. Aside from one ability, you had all your tools right from the start and just had to solve and complete increasingly difficult puzzles. And in the second half of the game, you received an ability to swap bodies with your enemy, which kept the gameplay fresh. Although your precision and dexterity were important. For the most part, you just had to find out the one true solution for every room. You were still able to brute force your way through puzzles, and skilled players could find different solutions, but level design and enemy placement always punished you for not going the intended way. Though maybe for some that was part of the challenge. And now the second or maybe even third game, if you count the VR title, is similar to the original in a lot of ways. The core gameplay is the same. You can grab all kinds of objects and throw them or use them, and time still only moves normally when you're moving. Enemies still die in one hit, but now there are a few additions. After playing a few, I guess, tutorial missions, you get into the main game, which plays mostly the same. It just has a different kind of level selection, I'd call it. You now have a ASCII RPG maze on screen, and you can select different rooms to start a sequence of levels. You get 3 hearts for the whole sequence, and every time you get hit, you lose 1 heart. But in between these puzzle rooms, you have access to hacks, the game calls it. Every other time between levels, the game lets you choose 1 out of 2 hacks that can increase your movement speed, lets you start with a specific weapon, or increase your health. You can also find hidden rooms where you can unlock new hacks that will become randomly accessible during gameplay. Levels are still tightly crafted murder rooms, but enemy placement as well as the sequence of events is randomized. So when you start a puzzle sequence, you don't know which rooms you have to solve. And if you die and go back to the start, you'll have to complete entirely different rooms. And whenever you start a room, you spawn in one of multiple different locations. Enemies enter the room through doorways all over the level, and you get a chance to spot an enemy when he enters the room, because the doorway will glow red when an enemy appears. You also don't have to kill every enemy in each room. Instead, it seems you have to kill a specific number of enemies. And because I haven't noticed that, I was a bit confused at first whenever I completed a room, even though I knew there was still an enemy behind me or around a corner. Or when I killed the last enemy that I needed for completing the room, and the enemy behind him got his head blown off. And I thought that this might be a weird glitch or something like that. But no, it's just that every enemy dies as soon as you reached your kill goal for the current room. The main gameplay loop is still a lot of fun, but the added randomness is more frustrating than anything else. Yeah, in the first game, you sometimes had a hard time to figure out what the developer wanted from you, and so you died again. But over time, you learned the layout of the level, the enemy placement, the intended kill sequence. In this game, if you die, you'll get sent to a completely different room with randomized enemies and a random starting position. And this doesn't even keep things fresh, because I had a lot of room repeats during my time with the game. This game is a perfect example of a sequel being just more of the same. It added random modifiers and abilities, and it added randomly generated room sequences to keep you on your toes. And I quite like the unconventional level selection, where you navigate through this DOS maze and find power-ups and story bits. But if it were up to me, I'd rather have made a more linear game with completely handcrafted levels and challenges. The core gameplay is still a lot of fun. It's enjoyable to have this murder ballet, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who enjoy this procedurally generated approach to levels and challenges. And now at the end of this video, I just got it that the game is in fact trying to be like Rogue. It is an actual roguelike. So yeah, if you want some incredible looking shootouts with a simple yet creative gameplay, give this one a look. It might not be the sole reason to get a Xbox Game Pass subscription, but if just one or two other games pique your interest, then the Game Pass is worth your money. And with that, I bid you adieu. That's it from Rady. Have a great day, and I hope to see you again on the next game.